Hi everyone, I am Kevin with CandleScience, and this is the IGI 6006 Paraffin Soy Wax Blend. It's paraffin and soy all in one wax, so you kind of get the best of both. People love this wax for its excellent scent throw. Especially if you're used to soy with the long cure times, you often get a nice strong throw out of this wax with just a couple of days curing. You also get really good color retention and a lack of frosting that you often see with soy wax as well. So you can achieve deeper, richer colors. And you're also going to get a nice smooth top, not just after pouring, but also after you burn it. If you're used to burning soy wax, you know about that rough, bumpy texture that it can often have. You're not going to see that with this wax, thanks to that added paraffin. So let's open up this box, take a look. This here is a 60-pound case, which consists of 6 of the 10-pound slabs. We do also sell this wax by the 10-pound slab on its own. If you buy the 10-pound slab from us, you will see that it is wrapped in plastic. Inside this case, it is not. So this wax is going to be, it's stacked in there. They all are in a bag inside this box, but each individual slab is not wrapped. This is a highly refined paraffin wax. It is filtered, it is cleaned. However, it is rather sticky. So sometimes you may find on these slabs just some specks of debris from the box or maybe just something from the manufacturing process. So when I open these up, I like to take a look at the slab, go through it, maybe pick out any specks that are on it. Again, it is very sticky. You can see it's getting all over my hands here. If that bothers you, you may want to wear gloves when handling this wax. If you're used to soy, you're used to those nice flakes that come in that case. Whereas this is one big slab, so you're going to need to cut it up. You can do that with a knife, spatula, a putty knife. Some people use a flat ice cream scoop. I personally prefer our wavy soap cutter. This thing is awesome for cutting all waxes, and 6006 is no exception. It's nice and sharp. It's a little bit sturdier than our standard soap cutter, so if you want a tool for cutting wax, pick one of these up. I love it. I use it all the time. It's fantastic. Slices right through the 6006, so you can get it into nice, small, manageable pieces. So this is a semi-glossy, opaque wax. It is usually very soft. You will notice from batch to batch sometimes there can be a slight difference in the hardness. It can be a little harder sometimes, it can be a little softer sometimes, but generally soft enough to just smooth out with your fingers. It's very pliable, very easy to work with. You get a 10% fragrance load on this maximum, which often you do not need because of how strong the scent throw on this is. We recommend starting at 6%. You can always increase to 10 if you would like. The pour temp is higher. If you're used to using soy wax, we recommend pouring this around 170, give or take 5 degrees. So you don't have that long cool down that you have with soy as well. Another benefit of using this wax. Because this is such a soft wax, it is only for containers and tea lights. This is not something to be used for pillars or votives, but excellent for containers and tea lights and anything that you're going to be putting into a vessel. So just a few tips when working with this wax, especially if you're transitioning from soy, you may notice some differences in the way that it behaves. It is more prone to sinkholes, especially around the wick. Particularly with taller containers. You won't see it so much with tins and jelly jars, but some of your bigger tumblers, status jars, you're going to see a distinct dipping around the wick. So you may need to do a second pour or just melt it with a heat gun. Second pour is my preferred method. You leave just a little bit of wax in your pitcher, and then once your candles cool down, you go back, you melt that little bit of wax, and you just do a nice second pour on top, about 1/8 of an inch, fill in that sinkhole, smooth out the top, works wonders, especially for larger batches. The other option is just use a heat gun. Once it solidifies, you take your heat gun, melt, again, about 1/8 of an inch of wax on the top, let it fill in the sinkhole, and it's going to re-solidify nice and smooth and fill any gaps that are in the middle. Another thing to keep in mind with this wax is it does tend to soot a little bit more than soy, especially if the wicking's not quite right. It tends to perform best with flat braid cotton wicks like Eco or CD or HTPs. Be sure to check out our wick guide for our best recommendations for your container. You also may see some more wet spots, as in glass adhesion on the side of your glass. Because of the paraffin content, it tends to shrink a little bit more. It's also why you get the sinkholes, but it tends to pull away from the glass. One way to help combat that is to just preheat your jars around 100 degrees before you pour, and that's going to help to avoid those wet spots. But to be honest, you'll probably still see them from time to time, but don't worry about it. Customers never even notice. And also, because it comes in a slab form, you're probably going to want to break it down in advance and store it. If you have a place so you can store the full case, they can store in the slab, no problem. I personally like to cut it up, maybe put it in a storage bin or Tupperware. That way it's a little bit more easily managed, especially if you're doing small batches. And one more thing to point out that you'll likely notice when you go to burn your candles, it does tend to behave differently than soy wax. You may notice that while you'll get a full melt, it's not going to have the depth that soy generally has. But as it burns down into the container, you will start to see that deeper melt pool. So in the beginning, if you're not seeing that nice deep melt pool, it may not mean that you need to wick up. I would continue burning it down. You'll often find that any residue left behind does melt and join the melt pool. If you continue increasing your wick size, you may not remedy that problem, and it's going to be overwicked when you get down to the bottom. So just keep that in mind. Be sure to test all the way down before you start wicking up with this wax, because it does behave differently than soy. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that this answers any questions that you have about this wax. If you've been considering trying it, if you're having issues with soy and you wanted to try something new, remedy some of those common issues, light scent throw, frosting, poor color retention, things of that nature, this is a great wax. So give it a try. Leave a comment down below. Let us know your feedback. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos in the future. And again, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.